Let's go. Greg's got the news, Danny's got the flair. One talks the cloud, the other's out there. Servers spinning, bites keep grinning. Tech talk laughs, let's get this show winning. Cyberwise guys, we're cracking the code. Tech and juggles on overload. Urge your dreams, cybersecurity schemes. It's the podcast you need, like coffee and memes.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you for joining another episode of Cyberwise Guys. Today with us is Mariano O'Kon, VP Global Security at TD Synnex. Welcome to the program, Mariano. How are you doing?
Good. Hello, everybody. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, Greg. A pleasure to be here.
Hello.
with you.
Glad you're here.
So it's been a while now since you've taken the mantle of VP Global Security. How is that working for you?
Oh, very interesting. I've been in TD Synnex for almost 6 months, not yet, 6 months.
Okay.
So I had the role, as you said, be Global Vice President for Security.
Mhm.
It's a very interesting time for technology all around, and obviously security. We've been talking about security for the last 15, 20 years, and it's
Mhm.
always here, right? Today, the new shiny toy is artificial intelligence or AI. And security plays a big role on it. And in 5 years, when the new shiny toy appears, security will still be as relevant as today or more.
So you said that you've been 6 months now with TD Synnex. What have been some of the key milestones that shaped your leadership philosophy in this space?
So I have more than 30 years of experience leading global teams. I'm from Argentina. I'm based in Miami. I moved to Miami 4 years ago, but I'm from Argentina. So from my very early days, I covered either all of Latin America or all of the Americas. And for 6 years, I also covered what was called in Cisco, where I used to work, emerging markets, which included Russia, Eastern Europe, Middle East, Africa, and Latin America. So I'm used to leading global teams, right?
Mhm.
And the focus is always to have a service mentality, to look at what your customers need and try to fulfill that need, right? Whatever that is.
Right.
So
Right.
that is the major part. Understand what the problem is and try to solve a business problem. Try to
Right.
solve. We've been talking about business outcomes for a while now, right? But at the end of the day, it's as simple as that, right? Companies either want to lower their costs or increase their revenue without
Right.
any risk, right? Without
Right.
any risk, right? And security is, if you like, for a nice analogy, it's like the brakes in your car and allows you to have control and allows you to go fast with control. That is security.
Mhm.
Security allows you to perform all your business needs with control and with very minimal risk if you do it right.
Excellent. So Mariano, looking back on some of the things that you've done in the past, when it comes to scaling security for network business globally, because you've had a global approach in your career so far, how do you apply those lessons to TD Synnex? What are you bringing to TD Synnex that would be valuable from what you've learned?
Yeah, well, if you want to execute at scale, this is not our original answer, but it's always the same. You need to have the right combinations of technology, of people, and processes, right?
Right.
One without the other doesn't work, right? The
Right.
people component is as important as the technology component. And I'm
Mhm.
stressing this today because everybody's talking about AI, how AI will replace
Right.
your work, blah, blah, blah. That's not the case, right? What will happen is a human being that is AI enabled or knows how to use AI will replace a human being that doesn't know AI, basically, right?
Right.
But you have to have the people component right. You have to have
Right.
the technology right, and you have to have your execution, your processes right. It's the
Right.
only way to execute a strategy at scale.
It's interesting how, as everyone is chasing AI and whatever function they're trying to make it do, the old standards, the tried and true ways of looking at business and security seem to be coming up as revolutionary, right? Like instead of just trying to apply AI to security for AI reasons, for just reasons that nobody seems to understand why, we seem to be not, it's revolutionary to ask, well, why don't we just ask them what their needs are, right? Let's just look at what their requirements are. What problems are they facing?
Let's
And
have
have
a
another tool for that.
conversation. What problem do you have? What do you want to achieve?
Right.
And let's implement that. Yeah, well, that's revolutionary. Yeah.
Exactly. Not that everything old is new again when it comes to because of this AI talk, which AI has its value, that's for sure. But I think exactly what you're talking about, hanging on to the tried and true principles and suppositions of what we understand to be great, good, and security business practices are what's important.
So, yeah, and this is what you just said. I heard Greg saying a few times in the past that AI will not replace people. It will just replace people that don't know how to work with AI. So people that know how to work with AI and leverage it will probably replace people that can't do that, like can't work with AI or afraid, I
Right.
would say, from the change that different AI applications are bringing and will bring with them. From your perspective, how do you see TD Synnex differentiate itself and helping partners navigate this added complexity to cybersecurity?
Yeah, let's start by saying AI, main difference from AI from whatever we've seen before is the speed of change.
Mhm.
How fast things are changing for everyone, like for every
Right.
employee, from the lower ranks into the VPs until the CEOs. We need to learn a lot, right? If you think of how many people were talking about Gen AI 2 years ago, that changed a lot.
Yeah,
And I
right.
would challenge how many people were talking about agentic AI or
Right.
knew what agentic AI was 1 year ago. And now
Right.
everyone's talking about agents here, agents there. Nobody seems to know why they want it yet, but they know they want it, right?
Yes.
It's like the typical joke, who wants AI? We, when do you want it? What now? Why do you want it? I don't know. So the role I see TD Synnex having will help our partners, our customers navigate through this complexity. And again, for security, this is something that we've been doing for many, many years because there's so many security vendors. There are so
Mhm.
many issues you need to resolve. And in the market, you have the big security companies that resolve a lot of issues. And then you have a lot of pure plays that resolve niche problems here and there.
Mhm.
And customers and partners get very easily confused on where do I start, right? What
Right.
is the best strategy for this?
Right.
So for us in TD Synnex, our role is to help our customers navigate that complexity, be
Mhm.
it by awareness, understand what problems are there. Maybe you don't even know the problem. And if you know the problem, enable you on how to solve them, right?
Right.
And if you already know how to do it, help you
Yep.
with logistics, obviously, with token and
Right.
everything that distributed does. And then do you want any help on training your services teams on delivering the implementation, optimization, or adoption? Do you want me to do it? So it's helping our partners in the whole life cycle and meet our partners, our customer where they are,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
That's our
Absolutely.
role, which is changing. It's dynamic. Obviously, we are using AI tools, and we are also. It's important to say when we talk about AI and security, I always like to differentiate very, very clearly what is security for AI and what is AI for security. Right? AI for security is when we use AI to secure your network, to secure your data centers, using AIs to enhance the security tools,
Right.
basically.
Mhm.
Security for AI is use security tools to protect the AI workloads themselves. And that's a new set of solutions, more complex. And again, you need to have those solutions if you're going to
Mhm.
implement Gen AI and agentic AI in your company, right?
Mhm.
If you have my personal perspective is that 95% of AI deployments will be hybrid. You will have
Yeah.
an LLM in the cloud and you have an SML, a small
Right.
model on premise. So
Right.
you need to have agents talking from your company to the cloud and back. That
Mhm.
creates a whole new set of issues, right? And that's
Yeah.
only that's one of the vectors that are new, right? If the security or the cybersecurity market was complex, now it's more complex. So our
Yeah.
duty Synnex as, again, helping our customers and partners navigate so this complexity is even more critical than ever.
Yeah.
And so,
Absolutely.
speaking of us at TD Synnex, the direction of technology 2025 recently, and it highlight the
Mhm.
AI as the foundation of competitive advantage. How does TD Synnex, right, embedding AI across the organization to help partners? Or what do we see? Where do you see TD Synnex, I would say, leveraging AI or embedding it as part of its foundations moving forward?
Well, one good example is Digital Bridge, which
Mhm.
basically is a tool enabled by AI, enabled by agentic AI, that allows our partners to use our tools in their
Mhm.
own tools. Instead of
Yeah.
going to our portal,
Mhm.
they use Microsoft Teams or they use Outlook. Within their tools, they use our proprietary, our IP, right?
Mhm.
So that's the goal of this is for our partners, users, employees to be more efficient, to be faster, so and they can use this available time, extra
Yeah.
time, if you will, to talk to more customers, to have deeper
Mhm.
conversations with customers. So again, by meeting our partners where they are, whatever tool they use, and again, I only gave the two examples that are already today, but we are building connectors with many other tools because every partner uses different tools, and the
Right.
goal is you will have access to TD Synnex capabilities whatever tool you use, right? We even have, if there's a tool that we don't have it yet, the partner can build it. We have the API, so they can build connectors to the digital bridge, right?
Mhm.
That is a use case of what problem are we solving, right? The problem is partner needs to go to multiple platforms and different websites to achieve one thing with us. It's easier if you do it directly from their tool, right? That is what
Mhm.
we need to do. Find ways to make our partners' life easier, more productive, right? Obviously,
Mhm.
we have other plans that using Gen AI, our partners can say, I have this customer here and I am this partner. I
Mhm.
have this situation with this security vendor. What's the perfect solution? What's the best solution and why? How do I present this to a marketing chief operator, to a finance operator, to a CTO?
Right.
And we have that capability. Not only we have it inside, our vendors, hundreds and hundreds of vendors, also
Yeah.
have those in place. So we
Right.
use those. It's not that we are creating the content. We are just facilitating the content for our partners to use whenever they need it.
Right. Right. So Mariano, I want to go back a little bit to this direction technology. Some of the themes that where it was appeared there. One of the ones was the DOT report calls cybersecurity fundamental, but they also say that it's still a battleground. So how is TD Synnex ensuring that security becomes a baseline for all the solutions that we offer, not just something like an add-on or an afterthought?
Well, that is a great point. I mean, the main problem with any solution in was when you add security after, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't have,
Right.
cannot be any more an add-on. That is why
Right.
we're talking about secure networking, secure data centers, right?
Right.
They have to be secure by design, and the solutions you use have to be embedded as much as you can, right?
Right.
If you are planning on using any cloud provider, you need security solutions that are embedded in those cloud providers and they talk to your on-premise solution, right? And if you have to create policies in your company
Yep.
and you only put them once and then they get deployed in the multiple instances that you have, right? And that's
Yep.
a big problem because usually in every medium big customer has between 50 and 70 security solutions running in their
Right.
in your network, right? And
Exactly.
if you want to change a business policy, then you cannot go into 50, 60, 70 dashboards to change that.
Mhm. Right.
And that's on on the configuration side. When you're attacked, how the heck do you know what happened or what's going on if you have 50,
Right.
60, even if you have 10 or 12, right? That's part of the problem.
Right.
So
Yep.
again, what we do is, we provide training, enablement, we provide guidance, we provide workshops. Again, if there's one thing I want everybody to remember when they leave this session, even if it's 5 or 50 minutes, is that we strive to help them navigate these complex scenarios. And I will repeat
Right.
this phrase as much as possible because at the end of the day, everything we do is with that goal in mind.
Yeah.
Right? The other thing you see is how do we achieve that goal that
Mhm.
our partners, regardless if they are Cisco shop on premise or HPE on premise or in the data center, have Dell or have HPE or Lenovo or whatever, and they
Mhm.
use Microsoft or they use Azure, it shouldn't mind, right? You
Right.
decide what infrastructure you use in the cloud and on premise. The
Right.
security solution should be, and we work with all those vendors to have those solutions to match whatever configuration you have.
So you've mentioned the proliferation of cybersecurity solutions that organizations nowadays have, like 50, 60, 70 different security, and the challenges of managing all of them in peacetime and in crisis time, if you will, after an attack
Right.
occurs. So how does TD Synnex help partners focus on what is really important in the space of security and networking?
So for me, the conversation is start with the business problem in mind,
Mhm.
and then figure out the solution that you need. right? So
Mhm.
usually if you have the opportunity, if your customer blesses you with the opportunity to give you all this information, you should know what installed base they have from networking, from data center, and what they want to do. And then you decide what security solution to use,
Mhm.
right?
Right.
Most vendors would love to do it the other way around. Look at this glass, right? It doesn't matter if you're thirsty or not,
Mhm.
buy this glass with water because it's the best glass ever. Maybe you
Right.
already have, maybe you already have a lot of glasses with water. What you need
Right.
is food, not water,
Right.
right? The
Yeah.
glass, if you have 10 and if you're hungry, it doesn't help you. So
Right.
you need to start with what is the business problem you're trying to solve. And then let's figure out how. And that's why you're going to see a lot of use cases and sales play based on the problem. I know we've talked
Right.
again. I've been in the industry for a long time, and we've been talking about use cases for a long time. But it was a nice thing to have 10 years ago. Now it's critical to understand that, especially
Yeah.
with AI. Especially
Right.
with AI, because networking, right? Maybe you have a customer calling you and you say, I have 100 switches. They are old. I want to buy 100 new switches. Okay,
Right.
right? This is a part number, the SKU. Here's the new one. Is the price all right? Yeah. So you cannot
Mhm.
buy one or two AIs.
Right.
AI is not a part number, right?
Right.
AI is a technology that will allow you to achieve a solution to a business problem,
Yeah.
right? So that is the challenge, and our partners need to change from selling boxes to selling solutions tied to a business problem, and that's
Absolutely.
where we can help on that guidance, on that training, on the consultative sessions, on
Mhm.
how to help them become that. And usually, when you turn into outcomes, you necessarily end up talking about specialization and verticalization.
Yeah.
Because the problems are, you're a bank or you're a pharmacy or a lawyer, you
Yep.
have different problems, right? So you need to
Absolutely.
think, where do I want to be as a partner? Who do I want to help?
Yep, absolutely. It's interesting you say that because the DOT report also talked about redesigning the operating model for AI for the AI era. So I'm curious to know what internal or say partner focused changes are you leading to support this kind of transformation?
So what I'm trying to do personally is trying to have a better appeal to those partners that are security only partners, right? I think we are extremely successful with multi-technology partners. And I would like to be more successful, using a politically correct word, with those in my times they were called security boutiques. I don't know if they like to be called that or not, but usually we call them that, right?
Right.
Partners that have this specialization, right?
Yeah.
And they need to understand how we can help them, right? And I think
Mhm.
there's a lot for us to give them, right?
Right.
Again, specialization from a technology point of view and from a vertical point of view will be critical. It's critical, but now it's going to be more critical, especially with AI, because it came so fast that many people have no idea where to start. What is the outcome that I want with this? And many people are just starting to figure out, right? They start with chatbots for customer
Exactly.
and that's fine. Yeah.
Right.
I think that 2 or 3 years from now, we'll be talking about totally different things than we're doing with Gen AI.
Absolutely. It's going from that deterministic workflow that everyone's so used to a non-deterministic agent that now is able to act autonomously or autonomously. That's quite a change in mindset when you're looking at switching from one to the other.
Absolutely. And in trust of the technology, right? We all
Yeah.
say agentic AI will be able to do autonomously a lot of things, but we have to trust that process. And that will
Right.
take time, right? We will
Right.
start doing that in things that are not that critical until we say, yeah, this is 99% of the time is right.
Right.
Okay, I will risk it with another one. So it will it will be a process, right?
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I think we will get there where,
Yeah.
a lot of agents. And by the way, when you have agents talking to agents,
Mhm.
talking to multiple LLMs and SLMs, that will change a lot how your network looks like and the security in
Right.
your network, right? Because
Absolutely.
today, if you look at the load in the network, it's basically humans talking to ChatGPT, to Gemini, to whatever.
Right.
So it's a bursty graph if you look at it, right, on how we use it,
Mhm.
because it's humans. The speed for computers, we are very, 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 very slow. But when you're having agents talking to agents at computer speed,
Yeah.
suddenly you look at the load in the network, it's going to be constant and high.
Right.
And that network is different of what we have today. So your network needs to be ready to secure that load and to
Yes.
allow that load if only and only if it's allowed from a technical point of view and from a business policy point of view, which are two different things.
Exactly.
So
So
Absolutely.
those challenges are coming. They're real today. And
Mhm.
that's where I think we can help a lot. I mean, we have all the great vendors work with us, and we have the information, we have the capability to help our partners achieve that goal.
Right.
So you spoke about securing the network, and it's not just, in my mind, it's not just securing the network against cyber attack, but it's also building up a network that will be able to support the high demand and connectivity. It's like the network will have to support, I would say, a large increase in traffic, right? So whether it's whether your environment is in Azure and requires more resources, or whether you're working with a private data center, you still need to
Mhm.
make sure that your network can support all that increase in traffic. Securing the network, right? There is a big push in SD-WAN, and there was a big push, I know, from Microsoft around zero trust, right, at the edge. So how do you see this convergence reshaping TD Synnex's roadmap?
Yeah. So security and networking, they've been moving together for the last 5 years or more, right? Everybody's doing it today, right? I remember in the first days of SD-WAN, some vendors were differentiating from the other, calling it, my solution is secure. This is secure SD-WAN. If your SD-WAN is not secure, please don't deploy it.
Right.
It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a
Sage advice.
But if you go back to 2000, before the pandemic, well, the vendors were different. My SD-WAN solution is as secure as SD-WAN solution. What the heck, man? It's like, yeah, you need to be that just to offer that solution. So, yeah, you will have an increase in traffic, but also you
Mhm.
need to have an increase in where do you perform your security functions, right? So that's when you start seeing the hybrid mesh firewall
Yeah.
scenarios that we're seeing today.
Mhm.
When you deploy a switch, that switch can have a firewall inside and filter the traffic from the port where it's trying to get into your network.
Right.
Is much easier, right? Because the days where you could buy a big fat firewall and put it between your network and internet that doesn't work anymore. It doesn't mean that you don't need that firewall, because
Right.
the firewall still to be there. But if we learned anything in the last 5-10 years, is that that's not enough.
Right.
Remember in 2015, the first target hack that everybody was scared about, that came from within, right?
Right.
And that's how you're now seeing vendors telling you have DPUs, which are data processing units in each port, and
Mhm.
having a small firewall there per port at line speed, right? Because you have
Right.
to do it, you have to distribute the load, right? And you're
Right.
seeing vendors telling, okay, if you want to, you can have Gen AI deployment, small SLMs inside the edge, right? You're seeing
Mhm.
vendors coming with edge devices. So it's not a centralized deployment anymore, right? First of all, because as I said before, I don't believe everybody will use one Gen AI engine. They will use
Right.
multiple, maybe
Right.
one peak to interface with everybody. And then you have specialized smaller Gen
Mhm.
AI engines that have knowledge for a specific topic.
Right.
For example, if a company is using a cloud network, a cloud Microsoft Azure or whatever, right? And they are afraid of their own data, maybe they can
Mhm.
use the Gen AI engine in the cloud, but they will have a smaller engine that has the knowledge of their data inside their private data center,
Mhm.
right? And you will see, what I believe is that you will see people selling small Gen AI engines specific for banks, specific
Right.
for lawyers, specific for if you're, if you're a copper mine company, you will
Mhm.
need some information. If you build cars, if you build and all that,
Yep.
right?
Right.
And that is what is coming, right? That
Mhm.
is why you see a strong push today on security in IoT devices,
Yes.
because the factories are going to be more automated now than ever,
Right.
and you need to have security on that too. But they've been doing that, but it's not at the speed that I believe they should have done it, to be extremely
Right. Right. Mariano, I'm curious about the future outlook. So one of the things that I read was in the DOT report, there's a lot of strong momentum in North America. what do you view as the biggest growth drivers for security networking in North America?
So again, for me, it's going back to my main message, which is solve business problems that is achieved with specialization, right?
Mhm.
Again, I'm not only talking about technical specialization, which you need, right? Obviously, right? Because we're selling technology, but also specialization on the vertical or the type of business you're selling to. Because the days where you will receive a PO for 20 switches are over. They
Mhm.
will call you to see how can you help me solve this problem.
Right.
And the problem won't be I bought a new building and I need to put more switches there. Hopefully, hopefully you will have that, and that's fine.
Right.
But the problems will be much more tied to business outcome. And again, I'm not saying anything new, but I think today this is the reality that we are going to be looking at day in and day out, right? So
Gotcha.
obviously, partners need to adopt AI internally. They need to know how AI works. They need to be part of this AI revolution, trying to understand if their specialization will be, I will be selling AI-enabled security solutions, or I will be a specialized partner for security for AI, which are
Mhm.
very different. Again, I'm repeating myself. Or you want to be both, depending on
Yeah.
your size. Depending on your size. And there's nothing wrong with any of the three scenarios, but you need to take a decision and go with that decision, right? So, and again, it's not just selling. It
Right.
is selling, implementing, optimizing, and helping your customers adopt. Because one
Right.
of the problems with adoption in security is, let's compare security with collaboration. You bought Microsoft Teams, you bought Zoom, you bought Cisco WebEx, and you bought 500 licenses. It's very easy to know if you're using the solution, because people are either in your Zoom meetings, in your WebEx meeting, your team meetings, or they're not, right?
Right.
People keep sending you email, and they never talk to you through Teams, or they are 50% of the time pinging you through Teams. Right? It's easy for a collaboration solution to understand the usage. The
Mhm.
telemetry is there. Security, on the other side, if you spend K in a security solution and it works, nothing happens. That's the goal of security, that everything
Right.
keeps working smoothly, right?
Yep.
So how do you show the CIO, the CFO,
Yeah.
that he authorized the spending 500K or a million or 200K, whatever the number is, that, remember that money you spent a year ago? It was well spent. And maybe
Right.
the guy, why? I haven't seen anything out of that. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Prove it. Yes.
You saw
We
your
try for the zero.
You saw your neighbor, he was attacked, where you were not. Well, actually, we were, but we could defend ourselves. So a good partner will help them see that, right? A good partner would generate what I call hero reports.
Yeah.
For every 6 months, it will show you what you've done. If you look at when the NFL Super Bowl finishes, when an Olympic finishes, when the World Cup finishes, whoever is the sponsor, the technical sponsor of that event, at the end of it will say, we stopped 1 million attacks in the last 3 days. Because that's the way they show it. They either say it or the transmission went down because they were hacked.
Yeah.
If the transmission went okay, so that in security is very important to have a very robust adoption practice, because in the same way you guys have Netflix or Disney Plus or Hulu, whatever you guys use, and when you have to renew, if you've been seeing the latest movies or series, you will not even think about, do I have to renew my TV stream service? Yes, I'm watching new movies every day, right? If your customer is happy with what they bought because they know it's been solving a business problem that they were trying to solve, then the renewal is almost a non-event, right? Yeah. What else can you sell me with this level of success? But it's our responsibility, it's our partner's responsibility to show the level of success.
So
We cannot ask, but the customer will do that. Yeah, sorry, Danny.
yeah, so it's okay. No, you brought up a few points, and one of them was, in my mind, extremely important, right? Especially for, let's say, security partners, right? The pure play security partners, because there are a lot of new AI-driven cybersecurity vendors coming into the market now. How do you and your group within TD Synnex, right, evaluate which technologies we should promoting or pushing out there to the partner community?
Again, it's not technology driven, it's use case driven, right? What problem are you trying to solve? And this is the 1, 2, or 3 solutions, because hopefully we will have multiple solutions that will solve the problem and they will compete with each other, right? The worst thing that can happen is that only one guy can solve this problem. Then you're in problem, right? So in the future, for me, the one who wins is the one who's able to combine networking with security with AI, right? And again, AI being used both to secure better, to enhance our security solutions, and security to be sure that AI is safe, right? That is not via, that is complying with the rules of each country, right? If you're in Europe, GDPRS is really critical, right? And you want to be sure that whatever solution you have complies with the data rules that each country has.
Yeah.
And maybe technically it's doing everything perfect, but if you miss that spot, that's a big no-no, right? The fines are very, very huge. So again, it's when we say protecting the AI workloads, it's not just from a technical aspect that they work and they are not hacked, which is extremely important, but also that your AI workload, your AI solution, Gen AI solution, follows the business policies that you have from a bias perspective, from a what information is available to whom perspective, right? Maybe if I ask something, I don't need to know that. But if you then ask it because you have a different role, then you can have that solution, right? And that is based on who you are and where you are and when you are, right? Sometimes if I'm in my house or in my office and I want to do something, it's allowed. But if I'm not in my house or I'm not in the office, I'm in a bar or I'm in another country that is not where I used to live, the system should know and said, I won't give you this information here and now because yes, you're Mariano. Yes, you work in TD Synnex. Yes, you are a VP, blah, blah, blah. But I don't trust where you are. It's 1 a.m. on a Saturday and you're coming from Ukraine. And there's something fishy there. And that's part of the complexity that we're talking about, right? So again, our job is to help our partners navigate this complexity, which is not only technical. As I said before, people, technology, and processes.
Absolutely. So looking ahead, what are the big bets or transformational shifts that you're most excited about for TD Synnex's global security networking and communication strategy?
So my selfish goal is to be perceived in the market as the best and biggest security distributor worldwide in every region. Right? That's what I want to achieve. I mean, that's my vision, right? Okay, how do I do it? Right? I need to be the best option for all my vendors, which also have options, right? So I want every vendor to say, I want to work with TD Synnex because they know how to use my information and they help our partners better. I want I want to be the best option for my partners, right? Because my partners will know that we will give them guidance if they don't know yet, and we will be able to enable them, right? So my big bet is to look at the whole life cycle, not just selling parts. At the end of the day, everything ends in a PO with product parts and service parts. That's clear. But how do we get to that, right? And getting an account manager and a partner thinking of, okay, I need to sell this solution with this implementation service and this adoption service from the get-go, because they understand that's the only way for this to be successful is key. To do this at scale, you need AI. And you need to meet our partners where they are. That's why I started with a digital bridge, because we can do that today for 10% of our partners, 20%, 50%. How do we do it for the long tail, for every partner? We have to use technology for that.
Absolutely.
We have to meet them where they are, whatever tool they're using, allowing them to have a Gen AI chatbot saying, okay, how do I start here, right? Or who can I talk to, or whatever. There's multiple solutions, and we're working on all of this, right? So and again, when somebody starts looking at one solution, the answer should be, this is a required network with this security embedded with this AI, and this is your data center solution that you need. And this is the cloud that we suggest you use, or any of the 3 clouds or 4 clouds work, but this is what you need to be careful with this one, with this one, with this one, because everyone is different, right? And again, it depends if you are in the US, everybody's in the US. But maybe if you are in a country in Europe or a country in Latin America or a country in APJ and they have sovereignty rules, then it would be great for us to tell them, if you want to use a cloud that is in your country, your only option is A, or you have only A and B out there, right? Because our customers, our partners don't necessarily understand where the data at the end resides, right?
Right.
Or we can tell them, you know what, for that, you have to use a private data center. None of the big clouders that have the features you're looking for are present in your country. You're a public sector company and you're
Right.
required to have data in country. So you have to build a private data center. This is how you do it, right? Obviously, the flexibility you have with the cloud is we can talk for hours on how much better it is, how you can
Right.
scale up and down, and but you need to be mindful of cost, you need to be mindful of delay, and
Yep.
more importantly, security and sovereignty.
You've mentioned the people, so technology, and the processes. I think that every security practitioner will, or almost all security practitioners will claim that people are the weakest link in this triangle. How critical in your mind is an ongoing education for both partners and their customers when they're thinking of their security and business operations, I would say, strategy?
It is extremely critical for many reasons. Remember that I said that you have to trust a solution to be able to use it and deploy it in several areas. So the only way for your people to use something is they know how to use it and they trust it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Basically, what you need is a good change management process within the company. That is why I don't know if the only is a good word, but most of the digital transformation initiatives in a company work when there is a top-down process from the CEO with a good change management initiative that ensures that every leader understands that, because maybe the CEO or CIO is convinced of that, but if your manager is not, and your manager tells you, I ignore this, let's do it in Excel.
Yeah. Right.
Send it to me in Excel, just send me an email, right? I will deal with that. Don't worry about that. That doesn't work, right? So it is extremely critical. And we can help them with that too, on how to build a change management process, because obviously when you're talking about technology, change management is on people, but also on the technology that you're deploying, how to use that technology, right?
Right.
And companies need to understand if they need to modify their actual processes or change them altogether, right? Again, and this is a long tail process because you need, again, I'm repeating myself, sorry about that, but you need to trust that this technology will, at the end of the day, help you, right? That's why most companies start with some process or some area that is not visible today until they understand what works for them, what processes work for them, and what they need to change. Because every company is different, right? Why every company is different? Because people are different. At the end of the day, if people don't use technology, it doesn't work. And again, now we talk about AI, but digital transformation initiatives have been part of our vernacular for the last 15, 20 years. And it's exactly the same thing.
Right.
Today is, if you want to have a competitive advantage, you need to have secure AI with a network that will allow you to deploy those solutions. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And focus on what problem you want to solve. What is the vertical? What is the specialization? Specialization will be key to differentiate yourself from your competition.
Yep. So Mariano, you mentioned change management and AI a little bit. I know part of that, when you are determining what you're going to add or what you're going to change in your environment for security, there's always that balance between innovation and responsible risk management. How do you find that balance then?
So for me, that's part of what the company's executive need to figure out, right? Because what is critical and what is not critical, there's no partner in earth, no distributor on earth that can tell a company what is critical for them. They need to decide that, right? And that starts on what is the problem we want to solve. Do we want to differentiate from my competitor? Do you want to lower cost, right? Or I've seen 2 or 3 of my competitors have been hacked. I need to be secure. How do I change that? What do I need to change from my users, which 20% of them are on the road, right? And I cannot get them to use MFA, multi-factor authentication, right? How do I force them? As simple as that, right? Is how do I make them use an authenticator, right? Because they are, what solution? Because some MFA solutions, especially the ones that are free, will do MFA, multi-factor authentication. They will send you an SMS or they will make you use an authenticator. But then once you're in, they stop checking what you're doing. Right? They open the door and say, okay, this is Mariano. right? Good solution should look at who you are, where you are, when you, and then keep
Yeah.
on looking what you're doing when you got into the company remotely,
Yeah.
right? If I'm Mariano, am I always using Excel and PowerPoint and sending emails and I'm never coding? I'm not
Mhm.
engineering. And suddenly I came in on a Friday and I started downloading things from our development teams.
Mhm.
That's actually right.
Right.
So a solution should be able to detect that and say, okay, stop. No.
Right.
We need to figure that your access again. It all depends on what you want to achieve and how, and you have to have a good north and then the steps on how to get there. Because, and again, this is not AI related. It's not, it's digital transformation related. This is digital
Right.
transformation 101.
Right.
This is cybersecurity 101.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The main difference is that we have more complex solutions. The pace of change is faster, but the fundamentals are the same. You are a company trying to achieve your business goals, trying to lower costs, raise revenue, so that your profit is bigger, and you have people trying to avoid you doing that by competing with you, by hacking you, by trying from
Right.
stealing with you. It's the same, right? The
Right.
technology is changing, yes. Our goal with our partners should be that our end users trust that the technology part, we take care of that, right? They focus on people and they focus on the processes and they focus on the prioritization you were asking about. How do I do this change management? How do I decide which is
Mhm.
the best pilot to do? What
Right.
is my success criteria to say, okay, this worked. Now is the next one is this one. It's a little bit more risky, but I know I can trust that my people know what to do, blah, blah, blah. That's where the end user should be focusing on. They should say, I trust this partner X with TD Synnex to take care of the technology part. And to be honest, of the three pillars, technology, people, and processes, technology is the easiest
Right.
by far.
Right.
By far.
I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you say that it's the easiest, but I'm not so sure because there are so many security vendors. Some of them were built in the cloud. Some of them are more legacy, like the Cisco's and the Fortinets and the F5s, and you have a lot of newborn AI-based security vendors, and it seems like there are more and more and more. And I kind of asked you before when you alluded to the question on how TD Synnex and in your role, like we need to help partners
And
and
that's exactly
customers to sift through that, I would say, ocean of options, right? So many options out there. So it becomes, I think, more complex in understanding which security vendor, and not just around security, but which vendor really is the best fit for an organization.
I agree 100% with what you said. And the answer to that is it's our role for TD Synnex with our partners to hide that complexity to our end users, to the end
Yes.
customer.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right? It is extremely complex, but TD Synnex and our partners are the best, should be the best option for our end customers to hide that complexity because they should trust us. That's the goal.
Yes.
That they trust that we know what is the best technology solution that will solve their business problem. And you have to earn that trust just by with a nice business card. That doesn't help it, but you need to earn that trust.
Exactly.
From the background, yeah, it's extremely complex, right? But that's why we're there for, to hide that complexity,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
To ask them business questions, and maybe some of the business questions is, what is your network infrastructure today? What kind of your operations people are they using? Do they know how to manage a Cisco network or HPE network? If they say Cisco or they say HPE, that will give you a hint on which direction you go. Because if you
Right.
change that vendor, right, you don't only have you decide for another vendor because this feature in particular is better. Then you need to teach every operations guy a new vendor, right? So if the goal of the end user was not to change the network per se, it was to achieve another business goal, maybe that new feature was not that relevant after all. Right? And the same goes with a data center, and same goes, right? Again, there's many different solutions, many vendors. The market is moving from best of breed. That's how we achieve 60, 70 solutions in each customer, because they said none one company will have the best solution for A, B, C, D, and E.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how we ended up with so many security solutions that created an operational nightmare. And when you're hacked, when you're having a problem, it's very difficult. And then you have those meetings where the goal of the people is to be named not guilty as soon as possible. It was not. It was not.
Well, I don't think, Mariano, I don't think I ever came across, and it's, I know it's a cliche, but I don't think that I've seen any IT slash networking slash security person ever getting fired for buying Cisco, right? So,
Right.
which brings me into a question that we've asked some previous guests in the past, in past episodes. You've mentioned that before in our conversation, that there is a lot of there is a proliferation. There's like 50, 60 vendors for around security for within each organization. Do you see a move from endpoint solutions or point solutions, I should say, not endpoint, point solutions, right, to more of a platform-based approach?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's not me seeing it, is you see the numbers, right? And that's why you see companies that are pure play, that were maybe a firewall company, not going into every company is going to the platform solution,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
Because of that problem, because customers want to move from 70 to 10 or from 70 to whatever, right? You name
Mhm.
that, choose your now. They want to lower the number of security vendors. Will,
Yes.
will we ever reach one? I don't think so, right? It's, you don't need to. But managing 10, and then if you have a SOAR deployment or a CM deployment that can help you get all the information together, and AI will
Mhm.
help a lot with that. It's even easier, right?
Right.
But yeah, the market on the last 5 years, I would say, started to move from best of breed to platform.
Right.
And the main reason is that first, well, several reasons. First, customers were tired of having so many. And second, vendors understood that that was a problem and they're all working on platform,
Mhm.
right? Because what you said about Cisco is extremely true, but that thought can be very dangerous for a vendor because
Yes.
there's a reason why you have the Palo Altos of the world and the Fortinets
Right.
of the world, right?
Right.
And Cisco is now doing a very, very good job on positioning itself as a platform and having the right level of innovation, right? But what you just said about Cisco, that's what they said about IBM 20, 30 years ago, right? And
Right.
things change a lot, right? So you need to be very careful. And I agree with what you said, right? But at the same time, I used to work at Cisco, so I can tell you this. At the same time, we always knew that there are two types of customers: your Cisco customers and your ABCs, anything but Cisco, right? So you will always have the and the ABCs move. We respond as human beings to experience, right? So if
Mhm.
you ever bought a firewall from fill in the blank and you got hit for that and you got fired because of an attack to that one, on your next job you will be very, very, very paranoid on that
Yep.
solution, right? And you will become anything but this. And you will one day, we respond. It's much easier to sell medicine to someone that is ill than to sell vitamin to somebody that is not sick.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that's how we are as human beings. That's not technology related, right? And it's
I
much
know.
easier,
Yeah.
right? If you're not feeling sick, yeah. Nowadays, many people are having vitamins, but if you're feeling sick, you will have whatever you say, right?
Yes.
If my doctor
Absolutely.
says this is what will cure you, I will do it. So it's the same thing with technology. As soon as you got hit by something, then you get more paranoid, right? And in security, there's this old saying is not if you're going to be hacked, is when.
Right.
There are customers that know they've been hacked and customers who don't know they've been hacked, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And again, we haven't talked at all at how AI is being used to enhance attacks because the bad guys are using AI too, right?
I gotta say, this is something we're gonna have to table for our next conversation next time you'll join us. And I hope that after today's experience, that you will join us again.
Indeed.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
As you can see, I talk a lot. I don't know if you
Join the crew.
again. If you guys are game, I'm always available, guys.
So
Awesome.
I want to give you kind of like maybe leave our audience with your final takeaways. If there's one message you'd like the TD Synnex partners and their customers to take away from our conversations today, what would that be?
Secure connectivity with AI will be a major differentiator. Specialization
Mhm.
will be a major differentiator, right? Things are going to move faster still. And again, our goal is to help you navigate this complexity as easier as possible, right? In all the life cycle, from deciding the solution to enabling you, to helping you sell, to install it, to optimize it, to adopt it, to expand it, and to renew it, right? My goal is to build the best security platform and the security team that will help our partners achieve that goal, because it is extremely complex marketplace, but I'm convinced that from the people, technology, and processes pillars, technology is the one that is the only one that is already solved for our partners. It's just a matter of us helping them to decide which solution to use and when to implement it, right? So it's going to be fun because things are going to get more interesting. And as I said at the beginning, the interesting thing about security is no matter where technology will go in the next 5 years, security will still be here.
Absolutely.
I don't know what the name of the tiny toy will be in 5 years. I
Right.
do know it will need security.
Well, with that, thank you, Mariano. Greg, as always, it's a
Thanks a lot.
pleasure. Yep.
Absolutely, Danny.
I would like to thank our audience for tuning into Cyber Wise Guys, because staying secure means staying smart. Until next time, stay
Bye,
vigilant,
everybody.
stay informed, and stay cyber wise.
Let's go. Greg's got the news, Danny's got the flair. One talks the cloud, the other's out there. Server spinning.